Maybe later. I'd like to thank everybody for being really cool in the comments last video. You sure know how to tell some funny jokes. But I see a few of you are telling me to turn the comments off to make the video appear more authentic. I'm sorry, but is it not already authentic? Everything I've ever said in my entire life has been nothing but true. On the SnorkleYT channel, we don't waste our time with stupid shit like fake news and exaggerated media. Here, we only talk about serious subjects regarding current events in our society. And having said that, isn't it weird that they added furries into the end of Walking Dead? Now that the show is concluded, I can't help but have a weird taste in my mouth about it all. I first started watching Walking Dead when I was 8 years old. So believe me when I tell you that I was around to see the show's highest highs and the lowest lows. And the tragic part about watching it unfold is you know exactly what AMC was trying to do. After Negan was defeated and the Whisperers quickly came along and took their place, people were giving up on the show. The finale of Season 9 was the lowest viewed episode in the entirety of Walking Dead. And it was when they tried to show off how evil the new villains could be by killing off a bunch of random main characters. But if you look in the background, you can tell that AMC was already trying to implement their new audience. Look at this image of the Walking Dead cast. Does it look a little weird to you? Besides the Hot Topic ad, there's been a growing number of furries on the show, and I'm not the only one who noticed this. A lot of people online were fighting back and forth over this when it started popping up. Furries have slowly been creeping their way into the end of the show until only a third of the original cast was actually normal by the finale. But to fully get an image on how this happened, you would have to start where the issue actually began, that being the Negan arc. And just before we begin, I should give a warning. There is no such thing as a good time when talking about furries. Let's begin.
Stop acting like you know the way ahead, like you know the rules.
Fursuiters have been around as early as Season 8, but whenever they were there, it was few and far between. There were no talking lines, no spotlights, nothing like we ended up having in Season 11. And because of that, fans of the show didn't really have a problem with it. But you know, the thing about furries is the fact that they're a lot like mold. If you let it stay, they're just gonna spread. Since no one was lashing out about it, AMC thought they were in the clear to put in more. So by Season 9, when they added the Whisperers, we were introduced to the first furry with actual speaking lines. And wouldn't you know it, it was just as bad as everyone thought it would be. I'm not gonna risk copyright showing you the 2-minute monologue explaining why age is just a number. But believe me, it's exactly what it sounds like. But to everyone's fortune, that wasn't even the main character of the show. Rick Grimes was still the lead, but he had to be pulled aside by a character named Rainbow Discharge. But once that scene was over, they just took off, and Rainbow Discharge was gone for the rest of the season. You would think that'd be enough to make people angry, right? But hardly anyone did. Since that furry was gone now, everyone just expected it to be a one-time thing. The show's quality has been on decline for years. Fans were used to garbage writing like this. But worst of all, while all this was happening, demographics were beginning to change. As said before, Season 9 was the lowest viewed season of the show. Tons of people were done watching by that time. But do you know what group of people were taking their place? A large one. Large enough to save a show if you pandered to them hard enough. And that's when I realized. AMC was only adding token furries so they could bait real ones into watching their show. And that made me angry. AMC has always been known for making awful money-based decisions. In fact, if Breaking Bad wasn't co-owned by Sony, I'm sure they would have ruined that show as well. But there were no co-owners for Walking Dead, which meant they could add anything they wanted to it, and bring in the worst groups of people imaginable. So by Season 10, the old fans were out, and the furries were in. Along with the Whisperers storyline, there was now a new B-plot about furries trying to maintain the quality of their fursuit, by any means necessary. Of the 10 episodes that were in that season, 6 of them were devoted to the furries. What was left of the main characters had been pushed to the back seat in order to make way for the B-plot. And every now and then, they would stop what they were doing to ask themselves what the furries thought about the situation. As if they weren't already taking up what was left of the show. So by the end of the season, when the leader of the Whisperers died, they actually went as far as to have a fucking furry comment on the fact that her name was Alpha, and then compare her to the Alpha and Omega movies. That's another issue that popped up when The Walking Dead became furry bait. The comedy. Have you ever seen a furry try to be funny? I bet the Russians use it for torture. and now the show is filled with it. As for the remaining 4 episodes, they were alright. It was the same mid-quality writing we were getting previously, but the furry community didn't seem to care at all. They just wanted to see more furries on screen. So by season 11, it really was at its worst. Out of 24 episodes in the season, only 4 of them had a focus beyond the original cast. The rest was just a garbage fire about furries, trying to gain powers from the animals they're dressing up as. The villain this time around was cool. Who doesn't love skinwalkers? And they look zombified too, so it fits the vibe of the show. But did you think we got to see someone cool like Daryl face off against them? Or Michonne? Or anyone else? No, why would we? This is a show made for furries now. We don't get to see cool characters anymore. We have to put up with Rainbow Discharge, who's practically the main character of the show now, along with his 2 cronies, Firefox and Benadryl, and just watch them do stupid shit like using their powers against the skinwalkers. And do you want to know how the show ends? It ends with the 3 furries meeting up with the Skinwalker King, and with their powers combined, turn him back into a furry. Remember when Walking Dead was about zombies? Anyways, it ends with them learning how to turn skinwalkers back to normal, and hint that they'll be using that power to turn zombies back to human in the 12th season. Which they never got since the show was cancelled after that. And you know, honestly, good riddance.
There are no rules, man. We're lost.
I don't know.
The Walking Dead is the perfect reason why you should never drag out a show. They were so desperate to bring in viewers after season 9 that they literally disowned their own fanbase in exchange for a new one. Not because they were good people. Oh no, it was because there were a lot of them. And the moment AMC caught wind of this, they went into full pandering mode and created something they thought everyone would love, but no one did. And if you want to take another shot and say I'm gaslighting you, I want you to look at this.
I've been watching The Walking Dead for quite a while now, and I have the same burning question I'm sure everyone has. Where are the fursuiters?
This was posted around when season 3 was airing. They've always been out there, and it's people like him that turned Walking Dead into a nasty f***ing fur fest. Man, I'm so tired of furries coming along and ruining everything. But more so, I'm tired of watching beloved properties be ruined for a quick buck, over and over until you feel dirty just for saying you like it. I've watched this happen so often now that it makes me want to give up on television. But what keeps me going is knowing that the show is cancelled, and the public perception changing into hatred for remakes. And it's just those 2 little things that make me hope that we'll one day be able to kickstart an era of film that actually has to be good in order to be successful. I hope you agree with me because I'm really sick of watching this happen, and I really hope we'll one day see a change for better in the future.